Keep rocking, baby. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the Nervous Breakdown podcast with our guest, Angry Kermit. I have a bit of a audio misfunction. We're unable to hear me interviewing him, so we're going to take this time to say we apologize. We wanted to make this good. Unfortunately, it's not the authentic experience that we want, but he has some really good answers. I don't want to make him redo this, and I think it would be just the right thing to do if I would just make this sound as best I can. You know, because he had really good answers, and I feel like I had some pretty good questions to ask him. So, yeah, that's it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Nervous Breakdown podcast. This is episode 2. We're on Spotify, and we have actually been added to iHeartRadio, so that is pretty darn cool. We have our guest. His name, if he'd like to introduce himself.
Hello, it's me, Angry Kermit, Mario extraordinaire.
So here's all you need to know about Angry Kermit. He's a 16-star runner, aiming for the top 50. I know what you're thinking. Who is this Angry Kermit guy? Well, you're in luck. Top 50 is pretty much a big deal. Maybe not as big of a deal that it used to be, but I think a guy like Angry Kermit, who has come up very recently in the Mario speedrunning scene, it's a big deal that he's kind of climbing the ranks, as fast as he is. When maybe like a year ago he was decent, but he wasn't where he's at now, 1542 and still going. So let's get into it. Let's ask him some questions, shall we? My first question for Angry Kermit was, how did it feel coming out? Like, I know it must have been kind of hard to, as it comes for most people who are homosexual, bisexual, trans, whatever way you spin it, must be a hard situation to deal with. And I just asked him, how would other people deal with it? How would you suggest they would deal with it? What helps them, you know what I mean? That's what I asked Angry Kermit right now.
It's like, take your time, don't rush it, it's when you're ready. I don't know. That's all I can really say. Just don't rush it.
I asked Angry Kermit if he's a 16-star main. Or does he do 120, 70? Is he a short category specialist at heart? We'll find out.
Alright. Well, definitely 16-star main. And like bigger than that, more like short category main. Usually if I'm not doing 16, I'm doing 1 or 0 star. But at the same time, I do plan to revisit 70. I did 70 during League to get a sub hour. And then after that, I was like, all right, man, I can't do this anymore. It's too long. Tippy sucks. But I would like to come back to it and try to get maybe a 55 or lower. Part of me wants to get a 49, but I don't think I'm gonna actually follow through on that. But yeah, as far as 70 goes, it's kind of just like, if I have time and if I actually have the mindset to do it, which sometimes I have one of those, very rarely are they both there. So for now, it's kind of just, I'm just going to keep doing short categories, and if there's a day where I'm like, I want to do 70 today, and I actually have time to do it, then I might do a couple 70 runs.
Are you sick of seeing me yet? I know if I was on the other side, I'd be a little sick of seeing me right now. But you know what? You're in luck. We're gonna ask Angry Kermit a question about Waluigi. Why is he his favorite character? I honestly don't know why he's his favorite character. Let's find out though. Why does he like Luigi?
I don't know. He's just pretty, pretty goofy guy. Disrespected. Nintendo, they put him in a tennis game, and then never really gave him the spotlight. So, I feel like he deserves more. He deserves more. Also, he's purple, and purple is cool.
All right, our next question for Angry Kermit is whether he has a speed game that he really thinks is underrated, that doesn't get enough love. We talk about a game that he speedruns for the Nintendo DS called Crayola Treasure Adventures. We just kind of meme about it. We go back and forth, which is kind of why the audio kind of like you could see like there's two people talking, but there's only him. But we're just just want to make that transparent before we put this out that there was audio issues, of course. But yeah, it's a fun conversation. I wish some of this audio was still in there, but what could you do?
Speed game that I like that doesn't get enough love. Probably. Whether or not I can think of it off the top of my head, I don't know. I mean, like I could say just like some SM64 ROM hacks, but I feel like that doesn't really count. Because I'd say like Lucy's Levitation, way more people should be running that. Game's crazy, but it's right. It's kind of just SM64 again. I don't know. Like obviously there are definitely tons of speed games that are like crazy underrated. I just can't necessarily think of any off the top of my head right now. But see, I thought of that and I'm like, nah, that game is like awful. So like while I would love to see, an influx of runs of the hit 2000 video game, 2007 video game for the Nintendo DS, Crayola Treasure Adventures, I don't think it's gonna happen. And if it does happen, we got some problems because it's like the speed run it's not good. It's literally just rub your finger on your screen for 20 minutes and you're done.
So we asked Angry Kermit a really silly question, like if Canadians do they like have flags on their like line on their lawn just like people in the United States do? It's a really silly question that I asked. I understand they're really meany, but I don't know. I kind of always wondered. And then we asked him a question about would he take up streaming full time if he had the opportunity? Maybe he was lucky enough, Maybe he could take up full time streaming. Excuse me. Well, let's get into it.
No. 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 I honestly, I genuinely can't think of the last time I would have seen that. I genuinely think it's more common for people to have like different countries' flags outside their houses if they're like immigrants or something that they've moved here, rather than have a Canadian flag. Like you just don't see that. Like yes, but I would never. If I was lucky enough to like be in the situation where I could do that, I would never fully rely on it. I'd always have a backup because it's not you can't guarantee that it's always gonna you know meet your requirements. Right, yeah. So yeah, definitely like if I was in a position where like that was supporting me, I would absolutely do it for as long as I could. But I would have, something to fall back on if it went under.
Kermit is very honest with their answers. So, I ask, what does she think about the N64 Mini Classic ever being released? Well, that classic system surely will come out, right? But I don't know, maybe Kermit has a different opinion on it.
N64 Mini, you mean like the NES Classic and SNES Classic, that thing? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if it hasn't happened yet, it's probably not going to, especially with the Switch Online N64 stuff. Like I feel like that's kind of I don't know. I don't I feel like Nintendo like doesn't respect the console as much as like I feel like they released the NES Mini and the SNES Mini or the Classic or whatever just cuz like, those are their first home consoles. The N64 is just kind of there. I feel like if they did do it, I'd be interested to see. I wouldn't really care what they do with the console because I already know what they do with the console. They would just, you know, release the console with a like flash cart built into it, essentially, with just like a bunch of games on it, right? Just a tiny console, whatever. But I'd be very interested to see what they did with the controller because now that we have seen a modern re-release sort of like the N64 controller with the Switch Online controller, I'd be interested to know what they do for like another one. If they would actually like try to improve it or if they would keep the same garbage stick or if they just put a more traditional analog stick because I don't actually own the Switch Online controller, but I believe it does have the same general mechanism, just like slightly improved. But I don't believe it is a like more traditional analog stick with like a potentiometer. So I'd be interested to know like if they did do an N64 classic, if they would move into a more traditional potentiometer based stick rather than a weird geared mess. I'm gonna say if Nintendo was smart, they'd make steel sticks and then sell them to speedrunners. Not even for a remade console. Just right now, just make a steel stick, boom, sell it, mass produce it, sell it for like I don't know, 100 bucks, something like that. People would buy it.
This conversation I've been having with Kermit has been going swimmingly. So, we talk about her first resources that she's used coming up in the game, or like what she used to do when she barely started playing, how she adapted, how she, the resources. The resources. Take advantage of the resources. Resources.
Usamune. Oh, when I learned the game? Oh, see, I actually can't say Usamune there because used Usamune very late. Like I got an EverDrive pretty late. I don't know if you remember, but like for quite a while I was just practicing on like my vanilla cart. Um, yeah, I got Usamune very late, but when I first learned the game, I was on emulator. I guess technically when I first learned the game, I was on Wii U Virtual Console because that's when I like first played the game. Um, so like the first time I ever like messed around with like BLJs and that sort of stuff, I was still doing like a casual 120 run or like a 120 playthrough on Wii U VC. But I feel like the main memory that I have like when I was first really like learning to speed run the game and doing like speedrun tricks was probably when I first like got an emulator and booted up the game on the emulator and just like messing around with Canonless with a save state because I was like trying to learn sock folder, just like with a save state, just chilling on the plank there. It took me like an hour to actually get the thing to work. But yeah, other than Canonless, like I kind of remember doing Mips Clip. I remember learning Mips Clip, and I don't know what tutorial I watched, but it was awful because the tutorial that I watched when I first learned Mips Clip, like you know how when you clip into the door, you like hold down on the stick and jump and you'll clip out backwards. The tutorial that I watched, and like that's not a hard strat. That's like a very easy strat. You just hold down and hit A and you get out. The tutorial that I watched was like when you get in the door and grab Mips, turn around and put Mips down on the other side of the door and then open the door. It's, it's super easy and it's free, but so is the other strat, and this one just wastes a bunch of time and is awkward. But that was before like I knew like about Wikipedia or like anybody in the community who's like reputable. I'm pretty sure the video that I watched was just from some like random dude. I don't think it was from like a really like popular speedrunner or yeah, right. Um it's just kind of funny that like I had no idea where to look. I just found like the first YouTube video and it worked, I guess, but Not a great strat, but thankfully I got over that and I do Mips clip properly now.
As speedrunners, I feel like we all kind of have something that we do before doing speedruns. Whether it's drinking a cup of coffee, energy drinks, just having a, glass of water, whatever it may be, to get us ready, to bring us to the mindset that, hey, I think we're going to do runs today. So I asked Kermit if he has like a ritual before he does speedruns, and this is how he answered.
Good question. Well, let's see. Usually before I do runs, I'm just like watching a Twitch stream, typically of Mario. And then like a lot of times I'll like eat food and then come up and do some runs. It kind of changes though sometimes because like sometimes I will practice for like half an hour or something before runs and then get into runs, but then a lot of times I'll go through a phase where I just don't practice. Like right now, for like a month, I've just been not practicing before runs at all, and it's been working out. But eventually, that will just feel weird, and I'll start practicing before runs again, and then that will feel weird, and I'll go back. It's always just like an endless loop of practice, no practice. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have like a set thing that I do before runs. It's kind of just I want to do runs now, and I'll go stream for a little while.
So this next question, I feel that was pretty fair. Ask Kermit if she knows, if her family knows that she speedruns, and because certain people, they just don't want their family to know that they speedrun. They feel like it's none of their business, or they may feel a little bit judged. So that's why I asked her, and I feel like it was pretty fair.
Oh yeah, pretty much everybody. Oh yeah, like friends, family, everybody knows. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it's just very common knowledge. Like yeah, Kermit speedruns.
So ever since I known Kermit, she's never really been a fan of Outfood. And she eats like nothing but Kraft dinner, which is apparently the substitute for Kraft mac and cheese over in Canada. So I just asked her, do you eat Outfood? Because over here in America, it's very common. So yeah, I asked her the question.
I like Subway personally. I'm a Subway person. Yeah, I like Subway. I like Wendy's. Wendy's is a classic. Trying to think. Like KFC is alright. I wouldn't go out of my way to go to KFC, but if it's there, I don't mind it. I did see a couple In-N-Outs when I was going around Cali, and I'm like, I've never been to an In-N-Out before, but I don't know. Like I hear it's good. Okay, good to know. Definitely will keep that in mind.
I asked Angry Kermit if she would sell the Nintendo World Championships cartridge for the NES, or would she keep it? It's a valued item, which is very rare and very expensive if you have both of them. Will she keep it, or will she sell it?
Nintendo World Championships. Definitely not gonna look that up real quick. uh Maybe? Oh, this one. Yeah. I want to say oh, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm not really the kind of person who like I don't know how much interest I'd really have in keeping this around. Like if I had, if I'd been one of the original people who it was given to, then it would be a whole different story, but if I just like acquired it, probably wouldn't really have any reason to keep it around, and I'd probably get rid of it. I'd probably sell it. Yeah, right? Like that's like a bunch of free money. Like there are some games that I would absolutely keep around either because I like the game or it's just cool to have, right? Like, you know, if I got a little Samsung cart, you better believe I'm gonna keep that one around. But yeah, I don't know. If I had Nintendo World Championships, I'd probably sell it, get some cash.
I asked Kermit, what's her favorite obscure gaming console that she hasn't played?
Virtual Boy. Does Virtual Boy count? Does Virtual Boy count? I mean, it's like it's not like super obscure necessarily just because it is Nintendo, but like it did not sell well and they're very rare. If that counts, Virtual Boy, no question. Um, I do. That is on my list of things to purchase at some point in my life is a Virtual Boy. I've seen one in person one time in Cali. Still have yet to actually play one, but definitely on the list. Oh yeah, I think it's a cool concept that technology just was not there, you know. But yeah, definitely every game is red. It's monochrome. They're all red and black. You got red and black Tetris, red and black Mario Tennis, you know, all kinds of stuff. Other than that, I'm not really sure though. But yeah, that'd definitely be the go-to.
Our last question that we asked Angry Kermit, I asked her, what if you met Charles Martinet? What would you say to him? What would you tell him? One thing that you would tell him. And she responded with this.
I mean, you know, I'd be like, "Hey man, thanks for being a good voice actor. You did great." You know, obviously the obvious thing, but I don't know, like I would if I had my if I had my SM64 cart on me, he'd be signing it. But I don't know. I don't really know what I would like talk to him about really. Cuz like, you know, I just know him as the guy who voiced the funny plumber. Seems like a cool guy though. He's just a goofy guy. Well, because it's like, you know, you know he's already heard this all before, right? So it's like,
There we have it. Our first podcast in the books with a guest. None other than Angry Kermit. She's terrific. Always never a dull moment really. Just both nerdy as fuck. Always have laid back, comfy conversations. I suggest following her Twitch and Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. Twitch.tv/Angry Kermit _. And I don't know if her Twitter is the same, but Angry Kermit on Twitter, you'll find her. Anyways, thanks for watching. Podcast is on Spotify and iHeartRadio as of now. I'm trying to get it on Apple Music. It's a pain in the ass, but we'll probably get it there. Anywho, see you next time. Keep on rocking it, baby. See ya.
Mario Camp's cool. You guys should run it. You know, we got challenges going on. Go play them.